Today we're making pasta bolognese so that I can bribe my roommate and steal his kitchen from him. Technically ex-roommate. Okay, backstory. I am about to move out of this kitchen and I'm going to be without an apartment for a couple months. And my old roommate, Derek, has a beautiful kitchen. Like, he had an amazing New York apartment steal. And I'm trying to make him a dish in order to convince him to let me use his kitchen for future shoots. You're on this journey with me because if I can convince him, we'll have a place to make videos. The backstory behind this dish is that I made it for one of my short form videos and it was his favorite thing that I've ever made before. And the secret is that this wasn't my recipe, it's actually from Marcella Hazan. And if you don't know who Marcella Hazan is, you're living under a rock, because she is this beautiful gem nugget of a human being. She's essentially the Julia Childs of Italian cooking, and she modernized what Italian cooking is for American households. So let's make it. You know, some people hate cutting onions, but I love cutting onions because sometimes you just need a good cry. And cutting onions is like an emotional release that is just so cathartic. So, moral of the story, more people should be cutting onions. Well, this onion didn't make me cry, so that's kind of disappointing. Okay, so now that we've chopped our sofrito into as fine as you are, we're going to, that was so bad. We're going to build the sauce. And the way that you want to build the sauce is how you would do with most. You start with your oil, and then we are going to add a stick of butter because that's what Miss Hazan says. So we're gonna go in with the onion, put the celeries and the carrots all together so that they can start the cooking process, because we've got pasta to make. We don't have a lot of time. Let's mix it. Look how pretty that is. To help the process of evaporation, one thing that you could do to speed it up is add some salt, like Salt Bae. After the sofrito has started to brown and you can start seeing that it's becoming translucent, so we're gonna add in the meat. So we have ground pork and ground beef chuck. So once that's in, we're going to go to our wall of mass creation and grab what most people would call a potato masher. But you can also mash meat with it because we want to really just break up the meat. Okay, to continue to build flavor, we're gonna season with some salt. We have come to a very special point in the cooking process. A lot of the liquids have started to evaporate away. The moment we've all been waiting for. We need to add more fat. So now that we have added the milk, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the heat on medium and let it get to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, we're gonna turn it on to the lowest setting and let it simmer away all of the milk for about an hour. And then we're gonna come back and add more flavor to it. While the bolognese sauce is in its milking process, which is really just cooking it down with milk, we're gonna start with the pappardelle. I learned how to make pasta in Italy. So here we have a combination of semolina flour and a combination of 00 flour or cake flour. So once you incorporated the flour together, what you want to do is you want to create a little crater in this. Go back. Oh, and we're going to drop it in. You could put the salt in the flour as you're mixing it, but I forgot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the salt in now. I think it'll be fine because it's all gonna be mixed in together. Go in with a spoon. We're just gonna get our hands dirty and messy and start combining it. So we're gonna knead the dough, and once it gets to this elasticy, we wanna start shaping the dough and letting it rest. I'm gonna set it aside. Okay, so now that you could see most of the milk has evaporated and it's absorbed into the meat and you can see lots of fat left over, it's time to add acidity into the sauce. We're gonna go in with about 2 cups of wine. This is dry wine. And we're gonna let it cook away. Also gonna add some grated nutmeg. So now that the sauce has been incorporated with the wine and the nutmeg and most of the liquid has been evaporated away, we're going to add in tomato sauce. So to do that, we're using whole San Marzano tomatoes. Let it simmer on low heat for another 2 to 2.5 hours until it becomes the most tastiest meat sauce in existence. Now that we're done rolling the pasta dough, it's time to cut it. Typically, you could use a little, wooden guitar where it's not an actual guitar, but it's a guitar pasta cutter, and you can kind of like use the rolling pin to push it down through the strings, and you make these like beautiful ribbons of pasta. We don't have that, so we're gonna improvise and use a knife. Okay, so now we have our beautiful ribbons of pappardelle. Now we're gonna cook our pasta. Always salt your water. We're gonna go in with a little bit of kosher salt. Now that the water is on a rolling boil, we're gonna take our pappardelle that we've made and we're gonna put it in. We want them to be al dente, and I think that based on the size of these, we'll cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so I think we're getting really close to al dente. I'm actually gonna cut off the fire. Set it aside. The grand reveal. Wow, look at that. Remember I said I'm gonna make it my own and tradition out the window? If there are any Italians out there, please look away right now because I'm about to do something that goes everything against what you believe in. It's blasphemy. Anyways, we're gonna do it now. So I love Chinese cooking wine. I love Fujianese Chinese cooking wine specifically, and we're gonna add some in there. I think it needs a little bit more. Beautiful. Now we have the Bolognese sauce. We have our pasta. We're going to combine everything into our pappardelle Bolognese. We're going to add a little bit of pasta sauce for the starchy water. Get that sauce ready. And then we're gonna add in our pasta. You know when the pasta is done through, 1, it smells really good, and 2, you can start seeing the noodles to be very tender, and you can hear that it's starting to sizzle. Okay, so now we're gonna pack the pappardelle, and we are going to convince Derek to let us borrow the kitchen. Ready for travel. But before we do that, let's try it. Let's just say Derek is gonna be crazy if he won't let us use his apartment. Hi, welcome back. I'm gonna warm up a surprise for you, okay?
A surprise?
Yeah, a surprise. You know how I have been asking you to borrow your kitchen? I made you something, and there'll be more to this meal if you let me borrow your kitchen for future shoots.
Well, this meal better be fucking good then. I'm gonna do some context setting here, cause why not? I used to be his roommate, and I tasted every single one of his dishes, and this is the thing I crave the most. Excited for this dish.
It's a lot of pasta.
Yeah, this is just as good as you made it the first time.
Nice.
So good.
Okay, so $1 million question for me. Can I cook in your apartment when you're not here?
Well, you kind of just helped yourself to my apartment when I wasn't here already. So, I literally got a text like, "Hey, I'm in your apartment." I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well that's a wrap. Like and subscribe. Okay, Derek, you should say like and subscribe.
Pound that like. Subscribe. Maybe someday he'll come to your house, illegal or illegally, to cook for you. Who knows? Like.